Hello and welcome to Is It Fun, where the opinions are made up and the story doesn't matter. Here we review games solely on their gameplay because that's what makes games games, right? And because of this you'll see little to no spoilers in this video. Of course, we'll be reviewing a 2D platformer so the story's not a huge deal, but whatever, fuck it, we're doing it anyway. So let's get into it. So in case you don't know, Sonic Mania is a high-speed 2D side-scrolling platformer made in a classic style akin to the older Sonic games that were on the Genesis. It even features blast processing. As far as I can tell, it's not an anniversary title since this would be year 26, so I guess it's just a fun callback. But more interesting, actually, is that this game was made by fans. Sega hired them to make the game, and you'll see the work of several famous members of the Sonic hacking community, like Stealth and Taxman, as well as the composer T-Lopes, who did a fantastic job on the score, by the way. So how does it hold up? Is it fun? Title drop right there. Is it fun? Let's take a closer look at the gameplay. Right off the bat you can play as Sonic and Tails, Sonic alone, Tails alone, or Knuckles. All three of them have slightly different abilities which allows for different playstyles. Sonic can drop dash, Tails can fly, and Knuckles can glide and climb up walls. This works perfectly with the level design, which accommodates all three playstyles. There are a few paths exclusive to each character to explore, and while they all have different abilities, they're all still fast, so you don't even really need to make use of their unique abilities to have fun with each one. And the new mechanics they've introduced are fun too. Sonic's drop dash, for example, is great for speedrunning, and you can now pick up Sonic with Tails by pressing up and jump after jumping, which really allows for more exploration in the levels. Speaking of the levels, they are wonderfully constructed, expanding on the older levels and creatively establishing the new ones. Everything looks great both in graphics and animation. You can tell that a lot of effort was put into the sprite work. I mean, just look at these animations, like, god damn! And level design is pretty good too. Most of the levels were really fun to play through with a good emphasis on speed and precision platforming, especially in levels like Green Hill and Titanic Monarch. Unfortunately, there are some parts of the game that feel like they're a bit too animated. The new zones immediately come to mind, especially Studiopolis and the first act of Mirage Saloon. In these levels I find myself being distracted by everything that's going on the screen, so much so that I actually lose track of my character. It's kinda sad because you can tell that they were really trying hard to make it look good, and it does, definitely, but unfortunately it does kinda get in the way a couple times. For example, I died several times to the boss in Studiopolis Act 1 because of just how much was going on the screen. It's pretty crazy. They also introduced some new gimmicks, like adding more environmental effects to the elemental shields, and just more stage gimmicks as well, like the ziplining in Green Hill or the conveyor belts in Press Garden. Sometimes though, it feels like there are a few too many gimmicks at once, like in Chemical Plant Act 2 and Hydrocity Act 2. Yeah, that's it. While it's not particularly bad in any zone, it just feels like they should have been more spread out across more zones. Not to mention, it can be kind of intimidating to new players. But the levels themselves are fantastic. Very fun to play through with multiple paths and different ways to play with each character. It really gives a lot of replay value, which is sort of the biggest draw for Sonic games if you think about it. You know, you try to remember what you really enjoyed doing in the other Sonic games, and that's getting a good score, or a good rank, or a good time, depending on the game. It's all in the replay value, and upon playing the levels again in time attack mode, I did find myself enjoying the levels more, especially the ones that I initially found frustrating. Although despite the game being quite short, I finished it in a few hours across 3 sessions, some of the levels felt quite long. The game rewards you for exploration, but at the same time you have a 10-minute time limit just like the old games, which makes sense, you know, you don't want to spend all day in one level, obviously. But the levels are so long that you might feel pressured by the time limit to not explore. For this reason, I pity the people who love to play Knuckles. Fuck's sake, doesn't he have it hard enough already? I definitely timed over a few times, most notably in the second act of Titanic Monarch. Like I said before, I think this game could definitely have benefited from more shorter levels instead of fewer longer levels. I realize that this would take more time and effort due to needing more set pieces and whatnot, but if they ever make a Sonic Mania 2, that's something that I'd like to see, along with more original levels, of course. Anyway, other than the core gameplay, you also have bonus stages, which you can get into from checkpoints. And it's Blue Sphere, yay! I guess. I personally think these are kinda repetitive, but regardless, they play just like the original. And by playing them, you get these emblems that are used to unlock extra features, like more moves and more options in the extras menu. You also have special stages, which you can access by finding various special rings hidden throughout the levels, just like in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And this time, you're chasing a UFO through a stage, and it's like a cross between the special stages from Sonic CD and Sonic Heroes. It's pretty cool, kinda hard to control, but ultimately pretty fun, and it lets you unlock the super characters, which is awesome. I'm just glad they're exploring new ideas with these. Also, that aesthetic. And that about covers everything. So, how is it overall? Is it fun? Fuck yeah, it is. It's pretty much got everything that the originals had, right down to the momentum-based controls. Like, honestly, this shit just blows Sonic 4 right out of the water. The physics feel good, and that's really what made the experience for me. It just plays so well and feels right, like this is how Sonic should control in 2D. And it looks so nice and sounds so good and plays so right, and oh god, I just can't get enough of this. I would easily recommend this to anyone who loves platformers, and definitely anyone who loves Sonic. You'll see a lot of references to the series throughout the game that any veteran would just love. It's got that speed, that design, those controls. This game is the shit. Go check it out. I'm also now very excited to see what the developers have in store for us next, whether it be with Sonic or something completely different. These guys know what they're doing. I think we're gonna see some excellent shit from them in the future. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think of the game and also this review series in the comments. I'm really excited to start this and see where it goes. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Dun 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 bum 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 bum. Cha-ching, motherfuckers.